Where's IAG? 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 All right. What has my coach and y'all's pastor, what has he been up to? They posted another Resurrection Ranch. Is that right? All right. So we got to see some of Grandma Lily. We got to take a look inside of the Amazing Grace to see to check the progress inside of the mobile home. Is that right? We got this. No, we didn't. On the Resurrection Ranch. Really? So what did we get? Really? Okay, now that's some straight up bull. Okay, that's some straight up bull. Okay, all right. As my coach would say, that's some straight up bull. Bull nonsense. And I'm like, okay, now we already saw the one Resurrection Ranch where Megan was outside creeping around in the woods. And I'm like, okay, yet another one. Megan's outside in the woods again. Is that right? The other one, she was trying to tell people how they could secure land. And they were saying that the most important step in the process was to have cash in hand. Is that right? That's the most important step? In whose real estate book? In whose real estate education? Is having cash in hand the most important step or rule or tip or suggestion, okay? But Megan's out there in the woods yet again, out there in their own woods. They're banished. Are they still suspended? They're expelled. They're still expelled from the inside of the Amazing Grace. Grandma Lily said, no entry inside of her double wide. Is that right? So Grandma Lily, let me get this right. Grandma Lily is still peeking through the peephole. Is she still peeping through the peephole anytime that Tim or Megan show up? Is that right? And she's like, well, you guys own that land out there. Okay, I have this lifetime lease. I'm just a land steward on this woeful lifetime lease. But I actually own this mobile home. I actually own this double wide. And so you guys can film out there as much as you want. Okay, I reviewed the contract. Or I had some family members review the contract, or I had some legal professional review the contract. And as such, you guys can film all you want outside. Okay. But as far as coming inside, no. That'll be a no. But Megan's out there and she's filming and she's talking about people, if they have their land and they want it to be some type of homestead. Is that right? She was talking about a homestead. Okay. And so she was talking about how they used to do farming back when they were in the city. Is that right? And she said at some point they were maxed out. Okay, and what was that, about 6-7 years ago? Okay, and so they got maxed out, and that's why they tried to secure some land, some acreage out in rural Mississippi. Is that right? And so effectively, that's when they shut down their farming. That's effectively when they shut down their homesteading. Is that right? Okay, but she's telling some of her foolish faithful Tim followers, she's telling them, well, you guys, if you guys want to have a homestead, you have to decide what you want to do with it. Do you want to raise crops, or do you want to merely have a garden, or a garden to be? In our case, we don't even have a garden. IAG Farms, imagine that. IAG Farms does not even have a garden. Okay. Did she remind folks that the pigs, the hogs are still working on the garden? They're the only ones that are doing any work on the garden. Is that right? Okay. All right. But she was trying to advise some of the followers that you guys need to decide what type of usage you want to have for your acreage moving forward, really. And so how much time did she waste on that nonsense? How much time did she spend talking in circles? About 20-25 minutes talking in circles, really. Could you tell on her face that she wanted an exit? She wanted to be out of this. She wanted the shooting, she wanted the filming to cease. She wanted to cease immediately. But what happened? You saying that my coach told her she had to somehow accumulate 20 plus minutes of content, really? And so she started talking in circles. She started rambling early in the video. Is that right? But somehow she stretched it out for 20-25 minutes. Okay. So that was Resurrection Ranch. Do we have any sightings of Grandma Lily? Any sightings of Grandma Lily in that video? None whatsoever. Okay. So just empty content. We're talking about empty, truly empty content. Is that right? Okay. Well, so what else? What else has my coach been up to? What else has he been up to? Okay. And so, okay. So we're still dwelling on this box blade issue. Is that right? Now, even though this content, bear in mind, this content is 3 to 4 weeks old. Okay. Talk about expired. This content is about 3 to 4 weeks of expired content. And so there's no telling what may happen in between the video that they posted on the boys becoming men because now they have weapons. Okay. There's no telling what's going to happen in the meantime. How many injuries he's going to edit out, how many hospital visits he's going to try to cover up. There's no telling. But I do understand that he was passing out the blades. Now he was gingerly handling the blades himself. So him as a quasi-responsible adult, and I say quasi, should be pseudo. Him as a pseudo-responsible adult, he knows that if he doesn't carefully handle those blades, he's going to lacerate himself, okay? All right, and he might bleed out, okay? Considering what Megan has been through, what she's suffered through, Megan might sit there and watch him bleed out. And so he's careful. He's gingerly handling them and gingerly inserting them into the blade holders and carefully handing them over to the boys. Okay, and we know boys with their low level of maturity, oh my goodness, there's no telling how that's going to go down. But I understand that he was talking about this being a first step or a final step. I don't know. First step or final step toward manhood. In his case, it doesn't matter. Okay, any steps that they're taking toward manhood at this point is just utter folly at this point. And so, but he's handing over the blades as if he's doing some type of what is he doing? Communion. He's handing over the blades as if he's doing communion. Is that right? Okay. And so what he says, he take this blood as a symbol of my body, the body of Tim, right? And what did he say? Take this holder as a symbol of my blood, as a representation of the future bloodshed that you guys will have yourselves. So he's handing it over like he's performing some type of communion. Okay. And of course, little Noah, he wants to reach out and grab the blade. And of course, Tim, he's like, wait, let me get the blade in the holder before you start cutting yourself up. Okay? Before you start bleeding out all over the place. Okay, let me put it in the blade holder. Let me close it up. And then after that, you're on your own. And of course, Megan, she, her being the mama bear that she is, she's like, okay, now, Tim. Okay, Tim. Okay, enough is enough. Sometimes enough is enough. And she's like, okay, Tim, you got to give them some type of instruction. All right, working around weapons and these highly dangerous box blades. That's not something you want the kids to learn by experience. We don't want them to learn by experience. Okay, all right, because those wounds, those scars will be lifelong. They will be lifelong, guarantee it. Okay, but he does a little communion thing with the blades. Is that right? Okay, and so now they're getting ready to hand over a blade to little Noah, and little Noah is more excited than we've ever seen him. Is that right? Is that right? Now, is that because my coach Tim has built it up to the point of actually carrying a weapon is some type of rite of passage? Is that why little Noah is so excited? Is that right? Okay, and so little Noah, he's going to get his blade, and eventually they're going to go out and they're going to start using those blades. Is that right? And at some point, little Noah will likely cut himself. Hopefully, he won't cut the others before he cuts himself. Okay, but eventually, little Noah will cut himself. Is that right? And I can see him running to the house, and he's trying to explain to his mama, trying to explain to Megan what happened. And Megan's like, "Well, what happened, little Noah? What happened?" And he's like, "Good." And she's like, "Why is there so much blood, little Noah? Why is there so much blood all over the place?" And he's like, "Good." And she's like, "Little Noah, what happened to where's your finger? Where's the other piece of your finger, little Noah?" And little Noah's like, "Good." And she's like, oh, little Noah, what is that Gideon is chewing on? What is he chewing on? And why does it look like a severed finger? And little Noah, of course, like, "Good." And Megan's like, oh no, enough is enough. And she's like, "Well, I'm about to put your dad out of the house. Finally, enough is enough. I'm about to put that disappointing son of a out of this house." And of course, little Noah's response will be, "Good." What? Okay, you think if he doesn't say good as a response to pretty much every question, eventually he won't give the proper response? Okay, if Megan is talking about finally putting Tim out of the house, and little Noah says good, you don't think he can finally get it right? Finally get the application correct? Finally get his grammar in order? But all right, has my coach been up to anything else? Anything else? Okay, in between his P2P nodcast, his rant videos, in between his fixation, his obsession with these reaction channels, has he been up to anything else? Not really. Okay, well, all right. Well, before I do my before I give my reaction to the recent P2P nodcast, where Tim talks about paying it forward. First, I have to recognize you guys have been active in the comments. Keep that commentary flowing. Keep that dialogue going both ways. I would like to recognize you heavy Tim followers, but you guys have been kind of light. You've been really light in the comments. I'm gonna need you guys to stir that back up. While you guys are thinking about some type of commentary to toss in, commentary that we have not heard before. While you guys are thinking about some new commentary to toss in, think about new ways to wild out in the comments. I'm going to keep on digressing. Welcome back to the end game, where today I'm going to give my reaction to that video, that P2P nodcast. I'm going to give my reaction to that video. Here, early in the video, Tim talks about how his eyes have been strained because he's been doing so much work around the farm. Okay, because he's been doing so much work around the garden, so much work with the pigs or with the sheep or with Gideon or with the duck, turkey, chickens. He's been doing so much work. Not with those matters. He's been doing so much work with the boys and their educational development. He's been doing so much work as being a family man, being a strong husband, being a loyal, a reliable husband for mate. No? Well, what was he doing all that work with? Oh, yeah? Okay. Oh, really? Okay. Well, his eyes got strained because he was doing so much work with his YouTubes. With his YouTubes. He was doing so much work with that, so his eyes got strained. What kind of man? What kind of man? But at least he's transparent. Every now and then we get a little bit of transparency, okay? Because for a moment he tried to claim that he was working on projects or his eyes got strained when he was putting that goofy old roof on the chicken coop or the poultry pen, okay? And so, of course, he would like to blame it on that. Or his eyes got strained when he was picking up the feed or when he was filling up the shed shack. His eyes got strained, okay? And so... of course, he would like to toss in those, but for a moment he was transparent and said, no, my eyes got strained because I was YouTubing. I was YouTubing for 12 hours a day. And that's how my eyes got strained. Yes. You Rethinking writers, I have to be honest with you guys. From time to time. Just time to time. Okay? Don't get carried away with it. Don't get spoiled. Okay? Me and the truth. Okay? We don't go together. We don't travel together much. Okay? But I'll give you a little bit. I'll sprinkle a little bit from time to time.
Temporary pair just until my real glasses come in. But I was getting my eyes tested because I've been having some problems out of my eyes because I've been editing so many videos and doing so much work as far as for our YouTube channel. And so while I was at the eye doctor, I was in there, they were checking my eyes. I was in a...
Tim offers this story about when he was in the back, I guess, getting his eyes examined. He overheard. Was he eavesdropping? Which back room? Okay. Somehow he overheard this old lady, and she was having a conversation with the folks, and he couldn't tell whether she said, he doesn't remember whether she said Medicaid or Medicare, and I guess she implied that she couldn't pay. They guess they told her that her insurance wouldn't cover it, and she would have to pay out of pocket. And I'm like, okay, well. This sounds like a reasonable story. Sounds like a reasonable story. Although my coach is prone to create stories, to create tales, tall tales. This sounds like a reasonable story. Okay, so I only have to check a couple of things. Okay, now, was he adjusting his glasses while he was giving us the tale? Was he adjusting his glasses? A bit? Okay. Did he just make it up and just say, well, there was an old lady? Is that right? Just called her an old lady. Is that right? Okay. And when he was talking about the Medicare, Medicaid, did he try to decipher between the two in order to try to add in some authenticity to his story? Is that right? Was he trying to build it up? He did some of that as well. Okay, well, here's my last check on whether or not this is a true story or a tall tale. Here's my last check. Was there any stuttering involved? When he was giving us the story, was there any stuttering involved? There was plenty of stuttering? Is that right? So does my coach know that he has tales? Does he know that his longtime viewers, they can tell when he's exaggerating or telling an all-out lie? Does he know that the longtime viewers, we can tell when it's coming? Does he know? He doesn't know yet? Okay. So what you're telling me is he called the woman an old lady. He pretended like he could fully eavesdrop from the back. He tried to toss in some technical Medicaid, Medicare terms. He adjusted his glasses and he did ample stuttering. There was ample stuttering within the story. Okay, so that means we have to take this story with a grain of salt. All right. Okay, so we'll take it with a grain of salt. Now, what is he using this story to tell? What is the point here? What is the principle here? Oh, he's going to get to that? Well, okay. All right, coach. Go ahead. Get to the point. Get to the point.
And I could overhear at the receptionist desk at the front desk that there was this old lady and she was trying to get her eyes checked so she can get glasses. She had been having problems out of her eyes because she's older and she needed glasses. And so I could hear them telling her that her insurance, which she had I'm trying to get it right. It's not I think it's Medicare. And so she has Medicare, whatever it is when you get older and you get that certain type of insurance. But she had like an insurance called Medicare, I believe it is. And they were saying that they didn't take that insurance. And so they were telling her that she would have to pay in cash. And so from the back room, I overheard them telling her that she had to pay in cash. And I could tell that she was communicating to them like, hey, if the insurance doesn't take care of it, I'm not going to be able to get glasses because I.
Tim says that he came out, he overheard the woman discussing her own personal / private business. He overheard her. And so he gently came out and offered to pay for it. And he says he paid for it, but then I guess he doubles back. He forgets the theme of this story. And he says that we blessed her. We blessed her. And I'm like, okay, so was Megan there? Was she back in the examination room with you? Was she in the back room with you? And so who's the we? Because at first you told us that you paid for it. You offered to pay for it. And then you said that we blessed her. And I'm like, okay, coach, which is it? Okay, coach, I know that you scripted this particular story, coach. All right, just make sure that your particular context, okay, and your things, make sure that they fit together, okay? Coach, make sure that they're cohesive. Okay, was it you that blessed her, or was it some mythical we that blessed her, coach? We know oftentimes you talk about the boys making certain observations, and they're making observations about stuff that they have no clue about, coach. I know you talk about the feelings that certain animals, the sheep have certain feelings, and the pigs and Gideon and little Solo, they didn't have a problem. They never expressed to you a problem with being crammed up in that little duck cage. And we know you try to talk and speak for Megan. You try to talk and speak for Grandma Lily and say, well, she loves to be up on that 10-foot, 12-foot tall ladder up there, risking her safety for the sake of some foolish caulking. She loves to be down on her hands and knees working on the fencing for this foolish little poultry pen. She loves to walk back and forth on the raggedy old driveway in order to spray the weeds on the driveway. So you like to speak for other folks. Okay, so we do understand in your stories you try to bring in other folks in order to complement stories that refer to your own personal actions and your own personal decisions. Okay, try to include a we. But in this case, coach, you start out saying that it was you that was in the back room. Okay, it was you that decided or that offered to pay for it. And then you forgot that it was just about you and said, well, let me say we. Let me offer in the we. For those ready Tim riders that don't pay such close attention to what I say, let me say that we. Let me include Megan in this. Or the ghost of Timothy Past.
don't have enough money to pay for it in cash. And so I overheard it. So I came out, and I just gently offered to pay for it. And so, a couple hours went by. I got my eyes checked. She ended up getting her eyes checked. We blessed her and paid for it. And so after I came out and get my eyes checked, the lady,
Tim talks about how the woman supposedly wanted to hug him, or I guess she hugged him. Supposedly the woman hugged him and thanked him. And he's saying, well, you don't have to thank me. Just go ahead and thank Jesus. And I'm like, okay, coach. And so I guess he shares his testimony, his highly selective testimony. Okay. He talks about his humble beginnings. And I'm like, okay, coach, those are being out there running the streets, skipping school, thugging, running with the gangs, stealing, having a violent past. Okay, those are not humble. Those are not humble beginnings. Okay. All right. If you were born down by the river in a little shack. All right. And just like the river, you've been running ever since. The outlaw, he's been running ever since as the outlaw of IAG. Okay. Those are humble beginnings. Okay. If you were raised with 3 other siblings in a one-room shack, those are humble beginnings. Okay. But being out there running with gangs in the streets of Jackson, okay, robbing and stealing, okay? We know that you got caught up on 2 of your robberies, okay? That means that there's guaranteed that there were umpteen more events where you stole people's money, where you stole people's belongings, okay? Where you robbed, okay? We do know that you kicked down your own mama's door. And so if you kicked down your own mama's door for the sake of some drugs, what other doors were kicked down along the way? Okay, we know you got caught up about two of your crimes. Okay, what about the other ones? Okay, and those are not humble beginnings, coach. Okay, so if you're going to share some type of testimony, okay, it would actually be realistic. It would actually be truthful if you shared your true testimony, okay, and you can tell, well, I used to rob and I used to steal, okay, I used to hustle, I used to try to get over, and I still do. I just do it differently, ma'am. I do it differently. Okay. The way I do it now is so easy. It's so easy. Go ahead, coach. Tell us more.
older lady, she came up to me and hugged me, and she was just saying thank you. And I said, no, you really don't have to thank me, thank Jesus. And I ended up telling her my testimony. I told her about my humble beginnings that you all already know. Like I said, you know, this is the From Prison to Purpose Godcast, and you know that I was in a physical prison, and God freed me from that physical prison. But
now, to Tim's credit, at first he talked about well, I guess when he was giving his supposed testimony to this mythical old lady, okay, he talked about his testimony as far as he got freed. God freed him from his physical prison, and in a moment of clarity, Tim, and I'm seeing more and more moments of clarity, more and more moments of honesty, just moments, okay, just a sprinkling, just a touch every now and then. Okay, and so it's what and I'm sure he's getting this from the reaction channels. I don't have any doubt whatsoever. He's getting it from the reaction channels. Okay, considering the fact that out of the 5 days, 2 to 3 of his P2P nodcasts are dedicated to the reaction channels. Okay, and more like 3 out of the 5 are dedicated to him ranting or him being fixated or obsessed, dedicating some of his time, his supposed motivational time, to the reaction channels. But he says, well, no. Let me be honest for a moment, because I know it's been talked about in the reaction channels. And he said, well, no. It wasn't just a physical prison. Okay, I have to admit, it was a social prison. Yes, it was an emotional prison. Okay, and of course, it was a spiritual prison. Okay, I was dependent. I was dependent on substance. I was a substance abuser. Okay, and that came long before I was in the supposed physical prison. But we get moments of clarity every now and then, so we have to take what we can get. We'll take what we can get, Coach.
Also from many emotional, mental, all type of spiritual prisons as well. But the foundation of my testimony is being set free from that physical prison and being activated into my purpose, and also that spiritual prison as well. And so as I was talking to this older lady, and I was telling her about my
Tim claims that he shared some principle that they learned years and years ago. Okay, back when they were, I guess, at least slightly exercising or displaying some type of charity within the community, and I guess it was the principle of being a cheerful giver. All right, and we've already talked about the fact that they've been, I don't know, the past 6-7 years, they've been nothing but cheerful gift takers. Cheerful gift takers, as in give me more, okay? We're all about the hoarding. We're all about the gorging on the gifts, okay? And so he talks about this principle, and he talks about how, well, you know, spiritually, if you're not a giver, it will haunt you. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh, talk about confessionals, coach. Talk about the P2P confessionals, coach. You may have to change the name on these, coach, if you keep going like this, okay? If you keep creeping into the reaction channels, okay? You keep stalking the reaction channels and stalking the comment areas, coach. You keep burning with those burner accounts, coach. You keep up like this, coach, we're going to have to switch the name over to P2P confessionals, okay? You talk about being haunted when you're not a giver, coach. Okay, would that not explain some of the anxiety? Some of your self-admitted anxiety that you experience? Would that not explain some of the depression that you experience, coach? Would that not explain some of the insecurity that you have, coach? Okay, you have not been a giver, let alone a cheerful giver for, I don't know, 6-7 years. I don't know, maybe longer. Okay, coach? It's way in the past. It's past tense. And we know you're quick to bring it up when it works to your advantage. And so I guess you figure with this old lady, she wouldn't know the difference. I'm sorry, with this mythical old lady, she definitely wouldn't know the difference. So
Testimony. I also told her about this principle that I learned, because we love to be cheerful givers. You know, the Bible talks about how God loves a cheerful giver, and we just love to give. I know, like, giving is like a spiritual gift for our family, because we love to do it. It's like sometimes, you know, if you're not gifted in giving, you kind of feel a burden. You kind of feel some type of loss that comes across when you give. But we see
Tim talks about, he told this older lady about this principle that he learned years and years and years ago. All right, coach. Keep the honesty coming, coach. Years and years and years ago. Okay, don't tell her about the principle that you've been applying like last month or last week or last year or a couple of years ago. He's saying years and years and years ago. Years and years and years ago, we learned this principle. Back when we were in the community, when we were pretending like we were cheerful givers, okay? Years ago, okay? And so, for one reason or another, you didn't share with her the fact that you haven't practiced any of that giving. You haven't practiced any of it. Yeah, I don't know, maybe a decade now, 6-7 years, maybe a decade now, okay, coach? But you talk about, hey, we learned that lesson, we learned that principle years ago. We don't apply it now. But we learned it years ago. Let me share it with you, older woman, as if you don't know anything about giving. But of course, my coach being who he is, he said, well, let me just step in. Let me just step in and let me offer you some words of wisdom. Okay? Wisdom from me. Okay? But I'm sure she was all ears, coach. What happened next?
we feel so full. We feel so like energetic, motivated, like we just feel good to give. And I told this older lady about this principle that I learned, you know, years and years and years ago, because we would give so much, and we were in this community and around so many people that love to give. And it's like
Tim talks about years and years and years ago. Okay? Years ago. You steady Tim supporters. Okay? You heavy Tim followers. It was years and years and years ago. But he's talking about how they supposedly developed this community of givers. Okay, coach. I guess they were giving when they were donating to the Oasis or donating to the Walk by Faith ministry. Okay, they were giving to your donation boxes. They were giving to your cupboards. Okay, and you guys were promptly taking, okay? As quickly as they were giving donations to the Oasis, to your ministry, you guys were taking them out, plucking them out, putting them on your backs, putting them on your heads, okay? Putting the lamps on the tables, okay? Pushing the chairs or the couches in the corners, okay? All right. And so you developed a community of givers, okay, of which you did not belong to. Okay. If anything, you belong to a community, that being your direct family, your immediate family. If anything, you developed a community of takers, cheerful gift takers. Okay. But you talked about how, okay, well, back then, there was this community and they made contributions. Okay. They contributed. They were givers. Okay. And supposedly, the theme was you give and you don't worry about being paid back. And I'm sure, Coach, I'm sure that you told them, just give until it hurts. Okay. Don't worry about me paying you back because there'll be no payback. I promise you. Take it from me, Pastor Tim. There'll be no payback.
Of people, we developed this beautiful community of people that are giving to people. And it's like, we're not looking for anything in return. We're not looking for you to pay me back. But when I bless you or when I'm blessed, the Lord wants us to bless somebody else. So don't focus on paying me back, but focus on paying it forward. Like, let's all go, like, when we're helped, when we're blessed, let's go and use those blessings to bless somebody else. And so it's just
Tim talks about how a routine doctor's visit turned into some routine giving. Okay, he talks about some default mode for his family. He's talking about how they've been giving for the past decade. Okay, and we haven't seen any of it. Okay, we actually haven't even heard of any of it. Okay, it's just been a concept that you've been giving. Okay, and so aside from this story about this supposed old lady at the eyeglass shop, we haven't heard about any giving. And of course, this story is even highly questionable, Coach. Okay, we see you adjusting the glasses again, Coach. We hear you clearing your throat. We hear you clearing your throat. And of course, we hear you stuttering. You're stuttering over the story, Coach. Okay, so we don't know which parts of this story are facts and which parts are fiction, Coach. We can't tell. Okay. All right. If we were betting people, we probably have to bet that the entire story is fictional. But you talk about some supposed default mode with your family. And for decades or a decade, you've been giving, Coach. And now even at the eyeglass shop. Now, we know somehow you snuck a camera into the hospital when Megan was having her consultation. And then I guess when she was doing her post-op, somehow you snuck a camera in there. But you would have us believe that you could not sneak a camera into the eyeglass shop or the ophthalmologist shop, the vision shop. You're going to have us believe that you couldn't sneak a camera in there. All right, Coach. All right. So I guess we should be happy just hearing a story about you giving. All right. Let alone not getting any video evidence to support it. All right, Coach. But tell us more, Coach. Tell us more.
A powerful thing, like I say, just that routine doctor visit that turned into some routine giving, because I tell y'all all the time that giving is a default mode for our family. Like I say, we've been giving for years, like for over a decade now. Like that has been our calling. We have felt led to give to those who have need.
Tim talks about how giving has been their calling. Although by his own admission, they changed the season. Okay, they've been trying to supposedly settle themselves in for the past, 6 or 7 years. They've been trying to settle themselves in. And so he claims they've been positioning themselves to return to their default mode. And I'm like, okay, Coach, just because you're trying to settle into that sardine can of a single wide, Coach, does not mean that you could not have been charitable. Around rural Mississippi, you could have been charitable. Let alone going back to Jackson. Plenty of opportunities for you guys to be charitable there. If supposedly giving is your default mode. But you talk about, we've been positioning ourselves, us acquiring this IAG property, us acquiring the Woodlands property or the Resurrection Ranch property, and us acquiring this third property has been about us positioning ourselves to continue to give. And I'm like, hold on, no. Okay, you guys have been fortifying yourselves. You've been uplifting. Okay, you've been trying to build up your own personal abundance. Okay, Coach? And so what are you talking about positioning yourself? How many years does it take to position yourself? Okay, if you received a mission or a vision from God and you shut it down, okay, you put it on hold for years and years, Coach. How long does it take to position yourself, coach? Okay, we see the tractors, the tractor, the side by side, the zero turn. We see that stuff in every video. We see it. We see the equipment propped up. Okay, you've shared with us the expense associated with it, whether part of it was sponsored or not. You've already shared the expense with us, coach. So how in the world does that support you being in position to be in some supposed default mode of giving, coach? Okay, the irrefutable evidence does not support the fact that you guys are cheerful givers. Okay, it's definitely not a default mode. Okay, taking, absorbing, manipulating. Okay, if anything, those are your default modes.
Like, we bought this property. We bought this property. We bought our other property down the road. And then the property that we just purchased, we have, multiple acres all together, 3 properties in the country within 5 minutes of each other. And we purchased all of these properties with the mentality that we were positioning ourselves to give to those who are in need, to be in position to where we can help those who need help so that we can pay it forward.
All right, Tim says there are so many people that help them to get to where they are. And I'm like, okay, finally, a smidget, a grain of gratitude toward those that have contributed to getting them to where they are, okay? Did he thank his donors individually or as a group? Did he thank them, okay? Did he thank those folks, those supporters that have sent him those tips, those gifts, those offerings, and those tithes? Did he thank them individually or even as a group? Did he thank them? No, not really. Okay. But so he says, at first he was saying that, there's so many people that have helped them get to where they are. Okay. And then he quickly shifts and says, no, God has done so much to get us to where we are. And I'm like, okay, coach. All right. You got close to recognizing those supporters that have supported your lifestyle, those supporters that have supported your accumulation of material items. Okay. You got close. But he said, I'm just going to give the credit to God. We do appreciate hearing that, coach. But I'm not so sure if it should be at the expense of your donors, your actual donors, coach. Just showing them just a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of thank you, coach. That would not have been so hard. Okay, coach? But as such, I can't take any more, coach.
Because so many people helped us to get to where we are. So many God did so much to get us to this point to where we are now. And so now at this point, we want to pay it forward and we want to help those who are in need. And not even just those who are in need as far as having lack, but just like we minister on this channel and we say we want to help you to unlock your purpose. We don't just want you to live life, but we want you to live life and life more abundant. We don't just want you to be set.
I can't take no more. I can't take no more. That's it for my reaction to that recent P2P nodcast where Tim talks about paying it forward. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Chop it up in the comments. Heavies, get up in there. You guys been light. You've been kind of light on the comments, heavies. You heavy Tim supporters, get up in there. I expect to see you guys. I want to shoot out some love to my current subscribers. Thank you for showing me that love. I do appreciate it. For those viewers that have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing so that we can continue to shine that light. Until next time.